welcome to the Saving with Steve show, where we talk about the ins and outs of money, pretty much everything in the center relates to you having a happier, healthy relationship with money. My name is Steve Saxon. I want to thank you for joining us today. You know what? We have a very special topic today, and actually an outstanding guest. See, one of the big things that occurred recently, but a lot of you that are listeners are talking about dating. You're like, okay, you know what? We're almost at the end here in December. We got cuffing season. Now we're in 2006. You're looking for a relationship. Incidentally, there was this press release called the Top Dating Trends for 2026. Andrea McGinty is considered the godmother of dating. She brings 35 years worth of experience, 10,000 plus marriages. She pioneers the status for the company called Just Lunch. She built over 110 locations, sold it to private equity. She now runs this firm called 33,000 Dates, guiding successful clients age 45 to 65 through the second act of their love stories. Andrea, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. I think this is so timely.
Thanks, Steve. It is, because I feel like 2025 blew by and here we are in 2026. And there's been some differences in dating and what people have been thinking about just in the last year. So I'm excited for 2026.
You know what? I'm happily married for 28 years, so I'm good with that. But one of the things I'd like you to talk about is you recently released a book called Second Act. Could you tell us what that's all about?
Sure.
Shameless plug.
This is my baby. Okay. It's Second Act Winning Strategies for Dating Over 50. Now, the reception of the book has been really good. It just came out this year, and there's 20 and 30 somethings reading it too. But here's what I like about the book. It's built my brains into this. It's not like I'm a author and write lots of books, but this book, I really wanted to get out some messaging about dating and cover the whole gamut from online dating to the high-end matchmakers, just cover everything possible that you could do. And there's 166 strategies. What I really like, or what it seems like the readers like in some book groups have told me, is there's 14 worksheets in it. So you get to fill out everything from, am I ready to date? And it really makes you think, because by the time you end this one worksheet, you're like, yes, I think I am. Or, oop, no, I think I better wait a few months based on what I just wrote down. And then it closes with the last worksheet that some people are like, what? I have to write this? And it's a business plan for your personal life. So what it is really, it's a strategy. So you've got to be strategic when you're dating. And I walk you through it all, through 14 of those. And then as you go through the chapters, you can also scan QR codes where I give you like a little 5-minute tease of coaching on it.
Hey, folks, you're going to now have the opportunity to get one of Andrea's books, Second Act. All you need to do to get that book is go to viewers. This is the email address, viewer@savingwithsteve.us. Again, that's viewer@savingwithsteve.us. In the subject line, write Second Act. And then in the body of the email, just put your address. First 100 people that email in to viewer@savingwithsteve.us, you're going to get a copy of the book mailed to your house. I know you're going to love it. I've already given out the book to a number of people, and they've already read it. They're I can't believe how fast people read this. It's just wild. Some people have actually taken a couple days to read it, but they're like, oh my God, this is night and day. They didn't realize, because they've never really had a strategy to dating. They never really understood, which made it a mess. So it's very cool. So folks, hey, if you're interested, go to viewer@savingwithsteve.us, Second Act in the subject line, and just put your address there, and we'll send you the book. So let's get started with start talking about the dating trends that are going to be happening in 2026. So if you could share some of those with us, Andrea, that'd be wonderful.
So yes, the dating trends, each year they change a little bit, may evolve maybe over a year or two. So one of the big trends is with the 45 to 65-year-old crowd. I call it gray dating, but there's a big movement between the 45 to 65-year-old crowd to online dating. And There's been a 23% jump already in people using it. And 1 out of 3 marriages, we just have tracking for 2023 and 2024, have taken place with that demographic, with a 45 to 65-year-old crowd dating online. But I think one of the important things too is you're going to be dating online, but you have to know what you're doing too. You've got to have a strategy. And Steve, you're really generous sending this book out. There's more trends I can absolutely talk about. You being out there, this age group. Now, there is a little difference because I do break the age group in half a little bit. So I go 45 to 55, and that's my rough estimate based on me constantly working with clients. But that age group tends to get remarried or married if you haven't been married before. Now, on the other hand, the 55 to 65 plus crowd, the trend there is it's really split 3 ways. Some want marriage, some want to live together, and some just want a long-term monogamous relationship. So the trend there really is more away from marriage and more to that long-term or that monogamous relationship without that paper, without. And I think what that does, you talked about money on the show, it keeps your things separate. And especially if you have children and you've got everything worked out with money and beneficiaries and all of that, you're not mixing funds, and you're still going to have hopefully a great relationship. So that is a big trend with the gray dating crowd.
No, you know what? One of the things I was thinking is when people are just getting started, okay, you talk about, okay, what is my strategy? The big question is, how do I create a strategy for dating? Because back in the day, it was meet people at bars, meet people at work, church, things like that. But it's a little bit different now because you don't really go to the bars when you're 45, 55, or maybe you do. So what's the first strategy somebody should be thinking about?
That is actually one of the 2026 trends that's going on. And that's called intelligent dating. Because when you go online and begin dating, and that's the biggest pool in the world. It's just amazing from when I first started out in this business where there was like no Google and no online dating. And now it doesn't matter where you live. There are so many people right at these fingertips, intelligent dating. 1,400 dating sites and dating apps out there. How do you know which one to pick? That is a huge question because if you pick the wrong one, and I usually encourage people to go on 2 sites or apps, you pick the wrong 1 or 2, you are going to be so discouraged so fast. So this is the trend toward intelligent dating. This goes back to the final worksheet of my book too, about having a strategy. Intelligent dating also includes people are using, especially the 45 to 65-year-old age group, they are using people to help them, whether it's somebody like me who's a dating coach or somebody who's a matchmaker, but somebody who has the resources to say, okay, you live in Palm Beach, Florida, or you live in Dallas, Texas. It's going to be very different, the sites that are going to be good for you. And you want to talk to somebody who knows what they're doing and the things you really want to be looking for on the sites, which you don't really have access to as just somebody signing up, but we do as the experts with intelligent dating is, okay, what's the ratio of men to women? What's the ratio of women to men? You don't want to be on a site, if you're a man, if you're a man, you don't want to be on a site that's 75% men and 25% women, right? So you've got to start out on the right site. That just makes sense. And the intelligent dating, using a coach, using a matchmaker, I so much encourage that, even if it's just a couple sessions or you need handholding and you want somebody longer, great. The thing is, they'll help you dramatically. And what's the rage in the US if we're talking about sports trends? Pickleball. Okay, pickleball. I'm sure you didn't go out for the first time to play competitive pickleball or with 4 people and never done it before. You probably took a clinic. or that's the smart way to do it anyway, to avoid getting hurt too with that net. So you probably took a couple of clinics. Same thing when we started golfing. We took golf lessons. We didn't just go out on the course. We went to the driving range. We had a pro. We had them instruct us on the short game, the long game. And so be intelligent about your dating so that, you have success. Because in this lifetime, another trend is we're living longer. This is not our parents' generation where, I'm 65. I'm just going to focus on, or 70. I'm just going to focus on the grandkids. My love life's over. Not anymore. When people are if you're hitting 60, what the actuarial tables will tell you, you have a very good chance you're going to live to mid 80s, even 90s. So it's like a third of your life left. So let's go. Let's find that person to travel with. Let's find that person to go to the movies with. Let's find that person to bring to parties. So that's a big trend. Intelligent dating for people over 45s.
It was really interesting you say that because I was just talking to my mom last night and where I was asking about relatives and stuff like that. And she has a niece who's 83 years old and she just moved in with somebody because they wanted a companionship. And I was just like, there's that is. So that's wonderful. Hey, look, folks, stick with us. We're going to be right back with the Godmother of Dating. Hey, welcome back to the Saving with Steve show where we talk about the ins and outs of money, pretty much everything under the sun relates to you having a happier, healthier relationship with money. Again, I want to thank you for joining us here today. I want to, if you're enjoying the information here on Saving with Steve, check out a few of our affiliates at UK Health Radio, BBS Radio, Talk Radio, New York City, AM FM 247. We've been adding more and more syndicators. We're getting more and more expanding here. And I want to thank you for sharing this with your friends and family. But I really want to get back to talking about dating with Andrea. Andrea, one of the big things that people are concerned about, and we hear it because I do things about scams and things like that, and one is romance scams. So, you know what? You have online dating. You've heard about this before. Let's just talk about it right now. But part of people are scared of online dating because of that, because of the stories they hear, which is scary. So could you help people? Hey, here's the steps you need to take. This is what you need to think about when you're dealing with this.
Yes, this is a hump to get over about the scams, the fraud, the fake profile, the ghosting, all of that stuff. Now, if we're looking at maybe you have kids in the 20s and 30s, they don't care. So they just hop on. They're fine with this. But there's been enormous change since online dating. Match.com was the first one to come on board in the late 90s. And by 2005, online dating was a mess, just an absolute mess. There were all these new dating sites popping up and no regulation. Oh, and I don't mean government regulation, but regulation by the sites themselves. Are these people real or not? Now that has really taken a good turn. And I would say since 2015, 2018, that's not a major worry anymore on the major sites. And I'm going to break that down for everybody. There's the major sites, and then there's these micro sites. So you want to be on a major site where there is verification going on, and everyone is doing it these days, whether it's Our Time or Elite Singles or any of these dating sites. They're making sure they're matching up photos with the person. They're taking some identity and making sure the person is who they say they are. And some even have built-in location services on there. So the person you're talking to, hey, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. He's really in Cleveland, Ohio, too. He's
In the Philippines.
They have gotten so much better at that and screening. So it's very rare that I have a client even bring up any more fraud as I'm coaching them or fake profiles. Now, on the other hand, okay, if you're going on these micro sites, would be sites like, I love to meditate, or I love yoga, or I love backgammon. There's sites like that are just like backgammonloversdate.com, or I just made that up. But if there are sites like these microsites. There's no regulation by whoever owns that site. And it's going to be very sparse in terms of numbers too. So Yes, on those type of sites, you're going to get fraud or weird people or people that aren't who they say they are. So don't pick one like that because you can go on the top 25, 50 dating sites out there. And this is really easy to do. My group of clients, my younger ones are absolutely using AI, but my older ones, just go online and Google top 100 dating sites. And they're going to give it to you and they're going to give you some numbers. I can give you better numbers. Somebody in the business can give you better numbers. Their numbers are pretty true. So go on look at the major websites our dating apps and dating platforms and dating sites. And you're not going to run into that. So I think a lot of that fear that goes back to 2005. And there was that Nigerian prince that was like sending all these letters to 70 and 80-year-old women, help me, or send me money after they've made contact for a while. That's not happening anymore. Number one, we're a lot more savvy. And number two, it's reported so fast on a site that those people are gone. So use the big sites because the big sites also are going to have the most people too. So let's go back to you love backgammon or you love yoga. That's something you can put in, or you love golf, or there's a certain sport. That's something you can put into your filters on the big sites too, and still get these people. So don't go on those micro sites.
Okay, so the big thing is to stay off the microsites because that's where the problems are. And you can create large filters. So if you're a pickleball lover, you can put pickleball, though I don't know how big of that filter is because how big pickleball is nowadays. But okay, now that we're got past, hey, take that, protect yourself, stay off the microsites, but the larger sites, you can Google those. That's great. So one of the big things is this, when you start creating a profile for yourself, I know this is part of a strategy, but how does one do that? Because in advance of this, we were checking out a few of these from one of my friends, and I was looking at some of the pictures going, okay, all right, that seemed a little weird, or it seemed very, how to put it, looked like a glamour photo.
Okay. The number one asset you have online by far is your photos. And you want to have 5 or 6 photos. Men, no more pictures in your cars, selfies in the bathrooms, or holding a fish. Get rid of those pictures. And we don't want to see your high school picture. We don't care. Okay, let's go back to the photos. Photos are super important. And you want to have 5 to 6 photos on the site. And you want to also make sure these photos are within the last 2 years. I always tell people caption your photos too. Vacation scuba diving in St. Martin, December 2025. People then know, oh, wow, this is a current shot. Okay, what kind of photos should you put up there? One, a good headshot, because most sites, that's all they'll do for your primary photo. So that one is important. Number two, a full body shot. People want to see really what you look like. And you don't want somebody showing up on a date with you that's not really told you what they look like. Okay, so we've got those two. You want an active photo. So a photo of you doing something you love. So it could be you holding a tennis racket on a tennis court, something that you really love to do. You're hiking, you're rafting, you're paddleboarding. Get one of those photos up there, active. Number 4, a social photo. So a social photo would be you taking a photo with maybe 2 or 3 friends or family members. And this is a time of the year with holidays and New Year's parties. That can be a candid photo. You don't need a photographer for this stuff, but you want to make sure if you're doing a social picture, and they are important, they show you have friends and that your friends look normal too. Not just you look normal, but your friends look normal too. Make sure you're like right in the middle and it's easy for a viewer to look and say, oh yeah, there she is again. And don't do a group shot of 25 people that you play golf with or something. Make sure it's a smaller type photo. If you want to include a photo with your kids, family, fine, with this caveat. Anybody under 18 for girls, don't include them. your daughters, your grandchildren, your granddaughters. Maybe, I don't know. Does that sound sexist? I don't mean it sexist. A lot of people don't want their children on film. Now you're 65 and your kids are 35. Oh, yeah, you're doing a celebration, an anniversary, a birthday party. Absolutely include that photo. It shows your family, it shows you're festive. And yeah, so those are the photos. And we don't want to see old pictures that you were in the military when you were 25 and you look amazing in your uniform. Who doesn't like a man in a uniform? Yeah, we don't know what you look like at 50. So just skip that. Just skip that.
Yeah,
So,
mine are 90, folks.
right. Photos are the number one asset. Men are going to look at your photos before they even read your profile. So are women. So make sure you've got great photos. I see people say, oh, online dating is terrible. And then I look at their photos and I say, I know why. That is exactly why we are. And so if that is why, there's a couple things you can do. You can have a professional photographer do these shots. And I don't mean in a studio. I don't mean what you alluded to earlier, a glamour shot. I mean, somebody that you hire for 2 hours and they're like $300. Invest in your future. This is the biggest investment you're making at this point in your life, right? Is in a romantic partner. Invest the $300, hire that photographer that will spend 2 hours with you as you're on a golf course or a pickleball court or doing something active or nice photos with a nice background by a river. We don't want those in studio shots. We want fun photos and smile and don't have sunglasses on and don't have ski goggles on. Okay. No bathing suit shots, guys and girls, women. No, nobody wants to see you in your bathing suit. Really and truly. Wait until you start dating somebody seriously and you go on your first vacation to Maui or the Caribbean. Then, they're going to see you in your bathing suit then.
Oh, that's fun. Hey, folks, photos are important, as you just heard. So stick with us. We're going to be right back with more Andrea McGinty and Saving with Steve. Hello, welcome back to the Saving with Steve show, where we talk about the ins and outs of money. Again, all the replays are available on savingwithsteve.us. You're definitely going to want to go back to this one. And by the way, first 100 people, go to viewer at savingwithsteve.us, subject line, second act. You put your address in there. We're going to send you Andrea's book, Second Act. You're going to want to get that. You're going to want to email quickly because they're going to be gone quickly. But folks, if you're enjoying the stories of helpful information, insight on Saving with Steve, I encourage you to never miss a show. Check out our YouTube channel. Check out a few affiliates at UK Health Radio, BBS Radio, Talk Radio New York City, E360 TV, Las Vegas TV networks. All these networks are dedicated to empowering you to solve problems, uplift your spirit, and live a life of personal and financial freedom. By the way, if you get this dating thing down, you're going to definitely uplift your life. So follow us on Facebook at Saving with Steve Sexton. Let's get back to it and talk to Andrea McGinty. But let's talk about that first date. You start talking to somebody online, and then what kind of questions would make sense to start creating a conversation with?
That's a really good question because now you've gone through the whole process, right? You've got your profile up there, you've got wonderful photos. Now you're like texting each other through the app, right? You're messaging back and forth. And we'll get to the first date in a moment because you have to get to that first date. You can't keep messaging back and forth. So the chances of you meeting somebody in real life with online dating, this is the statistic, excuse me. From the time you or he or she reaches out to you to the time of the first date actually occurs should take place no longer than 5 days later. If it's longer than that, it's not happening, folks. 90% of those don't turn into dates because online dating moves fast. And people that are wasting their time messaging or wasting their time on multiple phone calls, even. Okay, to answer your question, easy questions. I like to think about it like this. You do a couple texts back and forth, then you exchange phone numbers, and you have a quick 10-minute call with the only thing, and you even put this in your last message. Hey, Steve, I'm really interested. Let's hop on the phone. I'm way better on the phone than these messages. And let's chat for 10 minutes and see if we want to meet in real life. So what we've done is we've established some boundaries. This is going to be a 10-minute call to only decide if we want to meet in real life, not to hear each other's history, and it's going to keep it light. Okay, you get to the phone call. I want you to think you already met this person at a cocktail party because you've read their profile. You know a lot of information about them. Or maybe they don't have a lot in their profile, but you've looked at their photos, so you've got information there, you know, what they like to do. So you want to keep the phone call, as I said, short and sweet and really friendly. I tell people, stand up, walk around when you're on the phone because your energy level goes up and you just sound a lot better and a lot more excited. So you want to be positive on the phone. If you start talking to somebody and if they say anything negative, I'd get off that phone call very quickly and say, nice talking to you. I've got an appointment. I wish you the best. Get off that call. But most of the time, people make plans for a date. Okay, here's the next thing. Phone, logistics. I want you all to have this in your back pocket. I want you to have 2 places in your mind to meet. So you don't have to go back and forth texting again or another phone call. Where are we going to meet? So I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you're a man. You can make that suggestion right on the phone. I'm definitely interested. Okay. Which works better for you? I could meet on Saturday afternoon for a late drink at 4 o'clock, or I could meet you Monday afternoon, probably late afternoon, probably around 5. And I was thinking, have you tried brioche yet? It just opened and it's right in between the two of us. Or do you have a suggestion for where to meet? Boom. What have we done? We didn't say, let's get together sometime. We gave them the which works better for you, Saturday or Tuesday. Let's not go round and round. And sometimes my clients even say, oh, I can't do that. And I say, yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Men get tired of always having to do all the work and have a place in mind, especially if you live a half an hour apart. Okay, let's get to that first date. All right, you're on your first date. Keep it to an hour. Coffee tends to be very casual. I don't like it as much as meeting for a drink after work. I'll tell you why. Coffee tends to be, oh, you can be out of there in 20 minutes and you show up right after yoga in your cute Lululemon outfit. I very much prefer either doing a lunch date, hour, you have to eat lunch anyway, or a drink, not a dinner date, a drink. And you don't say, let's have a drink at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. No, because that scares people. Oh my gosh, am I stuck with this person then? Do we have to do dinner? Do we have to hang out together? All right, so we've established a 1-hour date works the best. Now, the coffee dates that I do are when people grab coffee and they say, let's take a long walk together. Those are fun because walking and talking can make people feel a lot more comfortable too than just like sitting, staring at each other over coffee. Okay, so you're on your date. Let's say you're going on a drink date. You're going to have a drink and an appetizer, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't drink. Don't order water. Just don't. Because if the other person's getting a glass of wine, the water is, well, this didn't mean that much to me. I'm getting this free water. Get a mocktail. Say, you know what, tonight or this afternoon, I'm just in the mood for some club soda with 2 shots of cranberry juice in it. You're drinking something and you're not making the other person feel uncomfortable. Do order something. And it's the same thing at lunch. Order what you want. You don't have to think, I'm a woman, I should get something really light. If you want to go for that burger or that gyro, go for it. Men like women who like to eat, right?
Yeah.
I think they do. That's what I hear from my men.
Yeah, I get it.
So you want to keep that first date fun, short, keep it to an hour. Now, the end of the first date, it's going to end pretty naturally. You're either going to feel, let me say, there's 3 scenarios. There's no way. So let's say it's the no way. walk out, you shake hands. It was just a pleasure to meet you. I'm just getting started on this site. I wish you the best of luck. Okay. Number two, you like the person and have something in mind when you say that to the person. Oh, I really enjoyed this. And we talked about pickleball, or we talked about some type of game, or we talked about a trivia night. Trivia nights are huge with the 45 to 65-year-old crowd. On Tuesdays, I go to trivia. Would you be interested in going with me next week? This great film came out and I'm dying to see it. You have any interest in this? So do something. Yeah, I know a movie, like you're sitting there. Afterwards, you're going to go get a drink and talk, or get a coffee and talk, or you're going to do something. Okay. Third scenario. You're on the fence. You're 50-50. You're like, I don't know. I don't know. Here's my thing. When in doubt, go out again, because the other person might have been super nervous. You might not have seen their real personalities. So you're in doubt. Remember, they weren't awful. You just weren't sure if they're the right person. Give them another chance and do go out. I just had an engagement last week, and this woman, her name's Amy, she went out on a date, and her and I were looking online, and at first she was picking like all these like really good looking men, and she's pretty smart. And I picked this guy that was nerdy, and he had these nerdy glasses, but there was something about him. Anyway, that was a year ago. Amy went out with him, and she called me afterwards. She goes, he's really nerdy, but we had a good conversation. And I'm like, so what are you thinking? She goes, I think I should give him another shot. I'm like, great, go out again. Engagement over Thanksgiving. And they're 50, and both of them have teenagers at home. I'm really excited for them. Chemistry, it's not like we're 18 and the hormones are going crazy. 50s, 60s. Yeah, we still have hormones. By the way, we still want intimacy. That's another big trend. People still want intimacy in their life. Give the person a second chance, because you might say, wow, on the second date, I found him really cute. And that might have been a smile. That might have been a story he told. It can really reverse itself. But by the second or third date, you'll know. Don't drag it past the third date, though. If you're still like, I don't know, on the third date, call me up. No, I'm just kidding. If you're on the third date and you still don't know, it's a no.
Yeah.
But give them a shot.
Those are great rules. Anything negative, gone. After two texts, it's not, after back and forth, it's not going to happen. So, folks, stick with us. We're right back with more Andrea McGinty, and right here on Saving with Steve. Hey, welcome back to the Saving with Steve show, where we're talking about the ins and outs of money. Today, we're talking about 2026 dating trends. But here's a biggie. You know what? We have people that are 45, 55, 65. They have those kids that have graduated from college, got their master's. They're all involved with their degree. They're rear end for 4, 5, 6 years. And now they're working their rear end of 12, 15 hours a day. And they really hadn't spent a lot of time dating over the last 5, 6, 7 years. And they're like, okay, so how do I do this? So let's talk about what all those people that have kids between 25, maybe even 30, that really haven't dated or dated very much. And Andrea, I'd really love it if you can share that with us. Help people with their kids. It's wild going to a dating show and helping people with their kids.
Yes. Oh, you know what? Love this topic, because I have a 25-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 20-year-old. And so I can definitely speak to this crowd. Okay, what's going on with these people? There's two things, and then I'm going to give you some examples. One, they still have that group mentality. We're going to go out in groups. I might this guy, I might like this girl, but we're going to go out in groups. That's not dating. That's not really getting you anywhere. 20, 21, 22, that's common, okay, to do that. But by the time you're 25, 28, even 30, you've got to be doing something. And this show's about money. What I'm seeing a big shift towards is online dating with this group, but with a couple of differences too. So I told you I have a couple kids. My husband's worried about our 25-year-old daughter, who is about to turn 26, and she's in New York City. She's in publishing. She works a lot. She has a great network of friends. She has really no dates. And he says to me like once a month, should we hire a matchmaker for her there? And you know what? Hey, parents, not a bad idea, because I would not do it for her because I'm her mom. They're not going to listen to me. Okay. You want them to do something while they're in their 20s. And when parents bring this up on the phone, I'll say, okay, these are the sites. Describe your son a little bit. He's 24. Okay. These are the 2 sites he should be on, and make sure he pays for the site. Make sure he pays for the site. Okay. All that stuff with Tinder that was hot stuff 10 years ago, that 20 to 30-year-old crowd with the free Tinder, they are really drifting away. And their parent company, if you read the Wall Street Journal, has had a lot to say about that. They're losing those people. So make sure you're paying, because what does it do? You have skin in the game. It means you care. And then you're only going to be shown people who also paid. So they're interested in a relationship. They're interested in dating. That's what I tell the kids. Now, okay, my 25-year-old daughter, she does come to me for a lot of dating advice and people that she meets online. And she goes over her profile with me, and I make sure the pictures look good. And I'll take a look at the men for her too. And I'll just give her, okay, I see 2 red flags on him. It might be he only posted 2 pictures. And really, you should post 4 or 5 or 6. He might not say where he went to school or where he's from. Red flag. Okay. So those type of things. Now, interestingly enough, even my 20-year-old, who's a junior in college in Boulder, Colorado, her and her friends are on dating sites, and they know now to pay. And here they are. What? The campus has 40,000 people. You would think it'd be a piece of cake to meet somebody, right? Of course, they meet people in real life. But for that age group, I would suggest that they go on either Tinder paid, Bumble paid, or Hinge paid. All 3 of those can be very strong sites and ways to get good connections for them. Okay, now if we're in the later part of the 20s, let's go to the 25 to maybe 32-year-old kids you have. Okay, they should definitely be, again, on a paid dating site, a good one. And the ones I just mentioned actually are still good for them too. But what they should be doing as well, meetup groups are fantastic because they'll be in your age group. You don't want to go to one that's for 60-year-old people. You want like people that are 20 something, a hiking club, or this event for 25 to 35-year-olds where we're having a guest speaker about nutrition or something that you're interested in, or an interesting book club where they say we're doing an even number of men and women. You both are interested in books. This is a great way to meet people. So meeting in real life, yes, it can still happen. Of course, people, it's not the meet cute Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks stuff at the grocery store. It's not walking up to somebody at Whole Foods for the most part. It's the part where you're doing an activity that you're genuinely interested in. I had a client ask me, she's 60, and she said, I'm going to tell my daughter to go to the driving range like every night. I said, oh, does she golf? Is she into golf? And she said, oh, no, not at all. I'm like, that's a bad idea because she's not into it. Now, if somebody was like into it, that's a great idea for that person to be at the driving range because there are more men than women. You have sons out there, that in that 25 to 35-year-old age group. You know where some great women are, guys? Yoga classes. Let me tell you, you don't have to be good at yoga. Anyone can go to yoga. I love yoga. I'm always the oldest person in my yoga class. They're all 25 to 35. And I always count how many men are in my yoga class. And so that 25 to 35-year-old crowd, it's cute women, pretty women, nice looking women. There's generally 3, 4, 5 men in the class. I'm thinking, oh, wow. I kind of want to walk up to the guys and say, okay, so who do you like? Can I introduce you? Of course I don't, because I've already embarrassed my kids in public enough. Yeah, those are good places to meet people. If you like sports and you have a team that you really like, there's nothing wrong with a Saturday afternoon going to, maybe it's an LSU bar and you went to LSU and you want to watch the game, and you're a girl, you're a female, and you're 28, going there. I'm not talking about getting drunk. I'm talking about you want to watch the game there. You're going to find other men, and there's bars designated in every city for Ohio State, LSU, Michigan, Stanford. You would not believe it. So these are not like a bunch of weird old drunken guys falling off bar stools. So that can be another way to meet people in real life. But again, I still go back to the internet because the pool of people is mind blowing. It's just mind blowing, but pay for it. So you're getting quality men and women.
So in other words, don't cheap out.
Yep. Don't cheap out.
So we have about 3 or 4 minutes left. I was curious if you could talk about matchmakers, coaches, what you do. How does that work? What's the questions to ask?
Sure. Okay. You should probably go to my YouTube video, how to pick a dating coach or a matchmaker. I give you 10 points about it on my YouTube channel, which is at 33,000dates.com, like 3300dates.com. I talk very much about that. And you want to be really specific when you want to talk to this person on the phone. Dating coaches. Now, I was a matchmaker for the first 25 years of my life. And then the last 10, I've been doing coaching. So you want to ask the questions like, okay, so how does this work? How many dates am I going to get? Am I able to say no to a date? How much does it cost? And if they ask you anything, what's your income? I would just say, oh, I've got to go by. Because you know what they're going to do? They're basing their price off your income. And we don't want that. We want total transparency. Okay, a dating coach can be good. It is fantastic for people in their second acts who they're divorced or widowed and they just don't know how to get started. Fantastic. Now, dating coaches are going to be a much more reasonable cost than a matchmaker. There's some really good matchmakers out there, though. And there's 4 or 5 that I refer to in the US too. So you can always book a 15-minute free call with me. And if you want to talk about matchmakers, I can tell you where to go. Matchmakers will cost substantially more. So they generally start at about $10,000. And that's generally for 6 months and a certain number of dates. If you've got a good matchmaker, oh my gosh, your life is so easy. Your parents are going to be so happy. You're going to be, yeah, or if it's for you and you're a 55 or 70-year-old man, you're going to be so happy that this matchmaker is doing all the work for you. But you want to ask them questions like, what's your success rate? What exactly am I getting? And listen to them and listen to their voice. Are they really listening to you? And do they sound fun? Do they sound like they're an expert at what they're doing? Ask them how long they've been doing this too. So you want that information. Why do I say fun? Because you're going to be talking to a matchmaker on a regular basis. You should go into it excited. You're always going to go in with a little bit of angst or anxiety, but you should be more excited. One of their jobs really is to keep your expectations in line and make this fun for you too, and take all the work out of it. Just as a dating coach, I'm taking the work out of people choosing online the right site or the right people to date, because I can go through profiles in 20 seconds and be like, nope, 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 yes, nope, yes, because I've got the experience doing this and then teaching people how to do that on their own. So that's really what you've got out there in the marketplace right now. It's the dating coaches, it's the matchmakers, and then in the middle, there are a couple of dating services, and you're also going to have your local people. So if you've got like a local person like dating in St. Louis, they're going to be matching you up from their group of people, their database that they already have. So make sure you know how many members they have, and make sure you know the ratio between the men and the women too, because they tend to not have enough people for the most part. So it's either you're going to go the online route or you're going to go to the matchmaking route. And then, of course, both people, the dating coach and the matchmaker, are going to give you other things to do that you can do in real life that are fun too, besides just their area of expertise, because they're going to have suggestions too.
So make sure somebody's going to be direct with you and you understand what's going to happen, and also make it fun because everybody's a little anxious about the whole dating world.
Yes, they are,
Uh,
especially somebody who, Steve, you've been married for 28 years, and I know you're happily married. For somebody else who's been married 30 years and suddenly divorced and never thought they were going to do this again, never, ever in a million years. Their kids know all about online dating, their kids know about dating. They don't know. They don't know where to begin. And then they'll listen to their best friend, and what worked for their best friend won't necessarily work for them. So you're better off going with an expert, I think.
I don't disagree with that. Hey, folks, remember, go to viewer at savingwithsteve.us. We're giving away 100 of the second act books that Andrea's published. Just put second act in the subject line. Make sure you put your address. We'll mail it out to you. You'll have it immediately. You read it one day, start dating the next. It's wonderful. Andrea, thank you so much for being here today. This has been a lot of fun and eye-opening. There's so many ahas just from the emails I've been getting. Somebody got an aha there. And the reality check on online dating, that first couple texts back and forth makes it all different, a big difference in the world, because a lot of people keep panning after others and it's never going to happen, and they should know that. So that was wonderful. So thanks again for being with us today. Folks, stick with us. We're going to be right back with more Saving with Steve. Hey, welcome back to the Saving with Steve show. Again, if you would like to get a hold of Andrea McGinty's second act book, you just want to go to viewer at savingwithsteve.us. Put second act in the subject line, just put your address there, and we'll mail the book out to you. Thank you again for joining us, sharing us with your friends and family. Giving out those books is the least we can do. I want to thank you all. I know this is showing on Facebook on December 23rd. So you know what? Have a merry, happy Christmas, or a merry, very merry Christmas. I know it's going to be like that for me and my family, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the new year. Bye-bye.